Good morning. This is Toocanyoucan, otherwise known as Grits. Toocanyoucan. You can call me Toocanyoucan. That being said, today what we're going to do is introduce a process for making barbecue spare ribs. The idea today will be to use a dry rub. We're not going to marinate or lightly. The idea we're going to do today is kind of create our own rub. I even have one that has been produced and is sold in stores. In fact, it won, along with my very wonderful partner at the time, the #1 barbecue sauce at the Kansas City Royale. I'm going to create a barbecue using spare ribs. We're going to use a dry rub. This dry rub will be something we create together. We'll talk through the process, the application, and the rest period. And then we'll take it out on the Barbie later on today, just in time for dinner. Today we have a set of standard Hormel product pork spare ribs. It's about 2.84 kilos, which converts to about 6.26 pounds. We're going to take it out of the package, going to clean it up, and let's go ahead and get started with that process right now. So the first thing we need to do is remove the brine or the membrane that is on the back. And the reason why we want to get rid of this membrane is because it will not allow the smoke to penetrate and flavor our rib. Look at that, it just comes right off. Look at that. That's what we're talking about. We're going to basically prepare it here in the morning. We're going to let it sit with some dry rub for a couple of hours. Then we're going to stick it on the grill. And by dinner tonight, we'll be ready to have some nice, juicy, succulent, outstanding spare ribs. This is a fairly innovative approach. I tend to like a little less sweet. There's a lot of people who enjoy their barbecue with honey and brown sugar and sugar cane juice and these sorts of things. I'm not much of a sweet kind of guy in that regard. But I do like a few unique flavors. And let's start with cinnamon. Cinnamon to me is just great. So we'll put about a good tablespoon in here just to add some interesting flavors. We'll also add some onion powder, and I'm going to take the top off. We'll do about more or less a tablespoon and a half. Nothing like some onions. Secondly, we're going to add some garlic powder. Same, about a tablespoon and a half, more or less. It's always good. There we go. Maybe just a tad bit more. There we go. Then we're going to add with that some thyme. I would go out to the porch and pull off some thyme from the plants that have been brought up from the garden. But we're just going to go the fast and easy way. And the same kind of thing. We're looking about a tablespoon of thyme, because you remember it's unless you ground it up, which, in fact, let's grind it up a little bit. Fine. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. When this is all ground up and we make a powder out of it, we're going to allow the flavors to absorb into the meat a little bit faster. So that's about all there is to it. So we put some thyme, garlic, onion, special secret, some Spanish canela or cinnamon, and that looks pretty good. Oh yeah, that's looking fine. there's one piece of this puzzle that is, in my opinion, relatively important, and that is salt, and more particularly sea salt. Now, we use the words rub, but the fact of the matter is that we're not going to rub. What we're going to do is sprinkle across, and we're going to try to sprinkle it as evenly as possible. The reason we're not going to rub is because if I apply some of this dry rub across the meat surface and then come back and start moving it around, some areas are not going to have as much as other areas. It's just natural. You can try to be good, and I'm really good and I can spread it perfectly even, but you can't. Remember, we're using a mustard base to adhere the dry rub to the meat. Even without the mustard base, you're still going to have the same problem if you try to rub your dry rub into the meat. So you want to sprinkle it evenly and you want to cover it thoroughly. So let's go ahead and get started. Put as much as you feel comfortable with. Quite frankly, I tend to like more. More is better in everything. More is better. More is better. Greedy. I can eat so many ribs at one time. I can't stand it. Now, we've covered the one side. What we're going to do is take a paper towel. And we're going to just dab it. We're not going to rub it. We're going to dab it to kind of push it into the mustard base. Okay? Something like this. Just like that. Doesn't have to be hard. Just easy. And you'll notice we're picking up almost no rub on the paper towel. And it's because the mustard is the attacher. So just so lightly. Not hard. You want it absorbed into the meat nicely. We've left the house, the kitchen zone, for Nirvana zone, the barbecue area. Get that fire going really well, and then we're going to lay a couple of what I have here in the backyard, probably walnut wood today, black walnut wood. We're going to maintain a temperature approximately about 250 degrees, and we'll keep it going for about an hour, hour and a half. Check it, and what we're looking for is a nice bark, and then we'll wrap the ribs and we'll cook it for another 3 or 4 hours. But the ideal temperature we're looking for is 207 precisely. We're going to close shop. We will come back to you in about an hour, hour and a half. Check up on the ribs, see if we got a nice color and a bark. It's really what we're looking to create at this stage. Some good smoke, and we should have ourselves some good tasty vittles shortly.